All right, guys. So today we're going to be taking a look at Notorious G's Zeus. He is 1150, floating around that 1100 to 1200 rating, and he has unfortunately been matched up against Kavoth, who is one of the best Age Mythology players currently playing. The reason I'm doing this is because I feel like, it can feel pretty rubbish to have to play against the top player on the leaderboard when you are sitting at basically, I don't know, let's call it 100 hours at this point, maybe more, maybe less, in Age Mythology Retold. So I want to give some tips out. So if you guys ever do find yourself matched up against someone way out of your league and you feel like there's something you can learn from it, but you just don't know what, feel free to jump into my Twitch channel, say g'day, and say, hey, I played against this top player. The recording game is here. And I will watch it and give you some tips. So first and foremost, unfortunately for Notorious G, this is a very small thing. It might have just been a mistake on his part. He might not do this every single game, but the small things are the things you can work on early and get it right. Storehouse, all you got to do is just put it a little bit further back off the gold mine. And generally speaking, you want to put it on the long side of the gold mine so you can have more villagers onto it. I like how you're grabbing the hunt right underneath the granary. Killing off this gazelle wouldn't be a terrible idea at this point, and sending some villagers to shoot these gazelle back in underneath the granary as well wouldn't be a terrible idea. Now, the thing is, with this scout, what you're doing sort of makes sense, but unfortunately, it really depends on what civilization you're playing against, and what civilization you're playing as. As Zeus, you need to be making some decisions as to what sort of an early game you're going to go for very, very quickly. Are you going to go for fast Labyrinth of Minos rush? Are you going to be going for centaur? Are you going to be going for an Athena Hoplite build? Are you going to go for 2-town center play? All of this stuff you need to know within the first sort of 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you for the rating party, Rapple, for the first 2 to 3 minutes. So what's really important actually isn't what's in this corner, isn't what's over here, isn't even what's over here. What's important is sort of the middle area of the map and what's in your opponent's base. So luckily we can see what's in your opponent's base, so you can actually make some decisions here. You can see he's got berries at the back, you can see he's got chickens over here, and his gold mine has a nice forest on it with a tower over here. This base is really, really nice for Kavoth. Let's pause here and talk about what would be a not so nice base for Kavoth. Well, potentially this tree line not being here would open up this gold mine quite a lot. If this berry patch or these chickens were on the front here, all of a sudden now you can harass those. And I guess if both of the forests here were forward, if that ever happens, I don't think it would ever happen, then maybe you can go for some wood as well. But this is going to be really, really hard to rush in and get damage done early. So you don't know that though, so you can't make that decision. But you have to think about a second way to play. I like the Forward Temple. If you're going to be going for this super aggressive play, this can get some good damage done onto your opponent here. But as soon as, if I'm the Frere player or the Norse player in this situation, as soon as I see somewhat of a fast advance, which this isn't really a fast advance, I'm probably going to get these walls up. So this is a little bit of a nice weird timing going to go on, but again, you don't know what's actually happening, so you don't know where to send that Minotaur. So I don't know if I particularly like the Forward Temple at this point. It will secure this hunt, and I like that you're moving forward to it when you're playing against Frere, when you're playing against Egyptians, when you're playing against some of the Atlanteans as well. Going out onto secondary hunt straight away can be a really, really great idea. Now, we hit the second age here, and at this point, you have to already be in your plan. What are you going for? What strategy is happening at this point? So are we going to build buildings? Are we going to make more Minotaur? I mean, at the moment, you got the resources for Minotaur. You're putting a house down. Not so many villagers on wood. You got a lot of food and gold in the bank to make some sort of a decision. You can go for a Heracles here as well with what you've got. But at this point, it doesn't look like you've really come up with a great plan. Also, slight tip here for everyone who's playing at home and You know, you want to have as much advantage as you possibly can. You really should use villager auto queue. The only type of player that shouldn't use villager auto queue is the type of player that's playing multiple RTS games and doesn't want to have lose their mechanics, so to speak. So there is that. But even then, you could turn on villager auto queue and also be constantly queuing villagers in advance as well, and then you wouldn't lose out on it if you missed the thing, but you'd still be practicing that muscle memory. Nonetheless, Kavoth, or not Kavoth, you still don't know what Kavoth is doing. And you see some villagers at the back here. Like, if we'd scouted, and let's say right now that, okay, let's say instead of having this back here scouted, instead of having, I guess you would run in this way, scout out the main base, run around this way, see this, come back, run over this way. You would see all of these resources, right? And you'd be able to know that he could be on these hippopotamus, and you could send those units straight up there to get some really super early game damage. Archery range coming down, still don't really know what he's going for. Doskabot's coming through, and you can see how good this base is here for Kavoth. Rushing in, he's not going to do a whole lot, and unfortunately, the Doskabot, well, fortunately, the Doskabot goes down. And this is another reason why you kind of want to run through your opponent's base nice and early, so they just can't snipe your Doskabot off, and you get all of that information in. Kavoth going to be grabbing a town center here. Very, very greedy, considering the gold mine situation that he's got. There's not a great spot here for him to get another gold mine, but again, you don't know this. Like we see, this is your most important amount of information you can get with scouting. Hunt is important, but it's not the most important. The most important is, where are the gold mines? Where's the town center? This gold mine, this gold mine here is close to the town center. So he can Ghoul and Bursty here, but you can poke here and force a defensive Ghoul and Bursty, which is what you want. You're not going to be able to get yourself a win here in the classical age with any sort of crazy aggression. You're going to have to get heroic age and maybe even a mythic age sort of timing to win this matchup on this map at the moment. Okay, so attacking. Okay, so now this is interesting. Attacking this position, obviously killing off this sentry tower is really, really nice. But what would be even more beneficial if you know exactly what your opponent's got, which technically speaking, if we take a look at your perspective right now, you do know. All you've seen is one longhouse. Now, you don't know what's over here. There could be more buildings over here, but you know there's nothing behind him. And right now, the actual best thing you can do is snipe this longhouse, because that's the only building he's got down. And all of a sudden, sniping this longhouse means, well, he's got no ability to produce units, and you can get a huge amount of damage done onto him. And that's exactly what you're going to do, which I love. He's going to get a little bit of damage. I would bolt this Draugr at the moment, because, I mean, if you know what's happening. So the more I say this, the more I think this should start clicking. There's this unit that all Greeks have, which is just ridiculously good, which is the Pegasus. Always get a Pegasus out, and just be very active with it. Just be consistently asking yourself, okay, what's my opponent doing? If he doesn't have any military buildings, what's he doing? Oh, he's going for a town center. Great, let's put pressure on. Let's get some villager kills. Let's do something here. That Draugr is getting way too much value just sniping from afar. Definitely a bolt onto that one would be great. But yeah, sniping this longhouse down, absolutely huge. Pushing him off of this gold mine, breaking through over here. You did spot these villagers up here. This could have been a raid for a couple of Minotaurs or something, or a Minotaur to just run up there and harass. Unfortunately, Jason getting a little bit out of the way. Okay, so now you have to be careful against Frere. Frere's danger zone, and the more I play Frere, the more I'm starting to learn about this. Frere's danger zone is this. I'm not sure if you can do this on your opponent's buildings or not and see the line of sight, or the range, excuse me, but the line of sight or the range is a little bit more than the actual Ghoul and Bursty cast size, right? So You have to stay outside of that range. If you're getting hit by arrows, that means you're too close to a town center. Otherwise, the Ghoul Bursty is going to be ridiculously strong, which also means here, don't run through this way, run around this way. Well, this is some really good pressure. Good spending of the resources. You're starting to float resources a little bit at the moment, which does mean, okay, time for another military building. I could be wrong. Yeah, you're not building villages, which is where everything is going to be going wrong here, because you're actually behind on villager count. And yes, he's got a second town center, but yeah, this is really going to hurt you if you're not using the villager auto queue. So I definitely recommend getting that villager auto queue and just slapping it in. Okay, Ghoul and Bursty in, and you just have to run. So this is really good. In fact, this is so good, I would say, that you can just retreat back, run around this way, and then come and plant yourself on this gold mine. Potentially also send a villager through onto this gold mine to drop more military buildings. You know, I was saying to get an extra one down at about this point. Maybe a villager forward to get that extra gold mine down on this side would be really, really nice. You can't bulk Ghoul and Bursty, unfortunately, no. Okay, so you do have 2 forward buildings here, which is nice. I mean, if this is just an all-in because that's the best play, which, I mean, it's not a terrible idea to just, you know, you're not going to win the late game against Frere, and you know that the Frere player is going fast second town center, so he's keeping up with the economy. Not going to work. So there is some world where a all-in here can work, but this is not, I would not recommend this as like your standard strategy. It would be probably more something to throw in a tournament to catch someone off guard. But yeah, you'd have to practice it quite a bit and make sure you're nailing everything. But Asgardian Hill Fort coming up. Whenever you see that Asgardian Hill Fort, again, this is with the scouting, Pegasus, spot this, walk over here, deny it, is very, very good. Yeah, the boar is a myth unit, sorry, it's a hero, not a myth unit. I don't know if I said that or not. Okay, there's the Pegasus. This Pegasus is great, but where do you want it? Well, basically you wanted it over here, and you want to be like poking in and just scouting what your opponent's making. At the moment, Gavoth is just making basically Draugr and throw an Axeman. So Toxotes, Minotaur are good as well, and these units here are going to be great. Okay, so a heroic age actually coming through. I don't know how much I like this, given that you've stopped building villages completely, right? This is a teching play, and you just don't have the economy to make this work. If your plan is to tech and then go for an all-in, what would make sense, and I'm not saying it's good, but what would make sense is build villages up to the advance, and then after you click advance, then stop building villages and just mass army at that point and go. That would make sense. Especially now you've got the Ghoul and Bursty out of here, you could potentially get a big bronze push going. Okay, I like the Sarissa, I like the upgrades. More units need to come out for, I would guess a 175 pop bronze all in would be really, really good. But still poking while this is going on is fantastic. Get up onto this spot, hit this gold mine. Very, very nice. Taking out the town center with him being out of position is huge. Fantastic. Great decision making. You can just pull back after this. You don't need to run forward. You've just taken this position. Great move here. And now you really just need to be having yourself full population. Unfortunately, you run out of gold there. Potentially on this spot, what would have been a smart move is instead of coming to this gold mine, you've also got this gold mine over here, which you missed, but you didn't see it, right? Wait, did you see it? Yeah, you missed it. But what you can do is instead of running all the way with the gold villages, you can put the gold villages over onto wood, and then you can grab the wood villages and put them over onto gold as an idea. Obviously, what you're doing, there's nothing really wrong with it. Well, necessarily, it's just less walking time, so more resources. You're in a good spot. But now Gavoth has got to the Mythic Age, and in classic Gavoth fashion, he will put the town center back up that you just killed. Maybe leaving a couple of units over here wouldn't have been a terrible idea just to poke, but I don't mind this because now you know he's up at the top. However, he does have whatchamajigget. He's got Tempest. Unfortunately here, your hoplites are out of position. You need... Oh, you're going for the town center. Oh. That's actually nice. You get a lot of resource kills for that. But all your army dying for this is just sort of not worth it, unfortunately. And a bronze with only a handful of units. Okay, so bronze, it's generally never good to use a god power in a panic. And sometimes you just have to. But if you can help, if you can decide to not panic, you could have bronzed the hoplites here and take out this hometown center. But yeah, never in a panic is generally pretty good. Do these hoplites kill this? And this god power is actually kind of nutty. It's like almost better. I think it is better than Frost in most ways. You still don't get it. That's super unfortunate. But yeah, I think maybe if you... I don't even know if bronzing the army would have helped on that TC takedown. But yeah, now Kavoth has got the villager advantage. And he's going to be way too far in front. Yeah, so... I mean... If your game plan is to go for a all-in the heroic age without building villages, then I would recommend building villages up to the heroic age. That's the big thing, and then spamming out the army and seeing if you can win. I don't know if it's good. I've never tried it. It does not compute with me personally as a style of play that I want to go for. But it might be... You might have stumbled upon an answer for Greek against Norse as well. Okay. Oh, GG. Nice try. Kavoth, obviously one of the best players in the world. So I love that you took it to him and you didn't let him just do whatever he wanted here. He was probably a little bit shook that an 1150 was able to get so much damage done, but you know, you did it. That was nice. Lots to learn from here, though, so hopefully you enjoy it. If you guys want more of these sorts of videos, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.